Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Mic Drop. I'm Katie, I'm a writer here at Music News Blitz, and I'm joined again with Nisha and Will. We've
Hello,
got
hello.
hello. We've got an episode for you this week. We've just been having a bit of a chat about it before, and I think we've got some really interesting things to chat about. I think we're going to start with Will, and he wants to talk to us a bit about PinkPantheress and this new kind of up and coming trend of female producers. So go for it, Will.
Yeah, I think I just started going down this rabbit hole since the Brits, and obviously she won Producer of the Year, being the first woman and also the youngest person ever to do it. And it kind of just led me, I was just on TikTok and I saw this one video and I was referring to Pink Pantheress as just because she's a woman, she's not referred to as a genius. And I think that word genius is mainly in relation to men, and it's not quite in what you see with female producers, because you don't see that many female producers as a whole. I think the 18% of producers are women in the US, and that was last year. And it's just in comparison to the amount of men in the field, and also the men that get the spotlight, you always hear of names of like Jack Antonoff. I feel like he's mega in that kind of role. But more recently, I feel like people start to wear off against him, and it feels like the only name you'll ever see when it comes to like these big pop stars. It's like so a big pop star's got an album coming out, you hear Jack Antonoff, and it's almost starting to throw me off. So I think with Pink, and she's had like this massive rise, it's been so refreshing to see because she doesn't do anything expensive. I mean, she made her music on GarageBand, which is literally a free app on your phone. There's been photos of her making music with a sock on the mic, and it's just like she's showing how accessible music can be to everyone, and also influencing more women to produce their own music. So I just
Yeah,
started going down that kind of rabbit hole.
I think they're all some really, really good points. I know I did a bit of research a while ago because I was writing about TikTok music, and it's kind of the first time I'd really put a name to Pink Panther's songs. Because obviously there are all these big TikTok hits, but I didn't really realize she was the person behind them. And in that article, I did a bit of research about women in the music industry, like statistically. And now, like, women do represent a decent percentage of the workforce. But when you look into the breakdown of it, the the number of women in like producing roles or behind the scenes role is an absolutely tiny percentage compared to performers. It's almost like they're still in this muse kind of role. And I think people like PinkPantheress that do a bit of everything are really, really important to the industry because she's not just the star on stage, which is also really important, but she's part of every single part of her music, and I think that's something that's really great and really inspiring. I feel quite inspired by her. I've never produced anything myself, but seeing that she can do it, particularly with, as you said, like on GarageBand, it's made me want to start looking at producing and maybe doing a little course. I don't know if you found like a similar thing, Nisha, or
Yeah, I remember I used to always play around with GarageBand and I'd get my brother to do some like little vocal and we'd make just like a joke song and it was always so fun. But I think definitely, I mean, when I think of female producers, the first name that comes to mind is Sophie. And I think she was incredible. I think she's gone too soon. I think she was only getting started on really the impact she would have on the industry. Um, and I think it's great that PinkPantheress is doing it. And I see her on TikTok and she's showing, oh, this is how I made this song. And she's just showing the app. And I think it's so cool. And I think more of that needs to be seen because it is empowering that I love seeing Northwest. She's kind of stepping into music a little bit and she's producing her stuff and she is for a 12-year-old absolutely incredible. And I think a place where that is welcome is kind of what we should be striving towards.
Yeah, and I think more on when you mentioned the video of Pink showing how she produced her music, there was one, I think she literally posted it this morning. It's a minute long. It shows you how she made the start of Tonight and how it ends up in like the real world, how it actually is like how she's genuinely made it and how simple it is. Because I think people look at production and there's so many elements to it and it can be very overwhelming. But in a 1 minute video, she's shown how she made the start of like the single for her mixtape.
Yeah, I think that is really cool. And similar to that, I don't know if either of you two know of the band Girl Group, but they're 5 women, but it's produced by one of the members, and she does a really similar thing as well. On their TikTok, she breaks down how it's all mixed and all the different elements they've put in. And I think it seems to be something that women are stepping into at the moment, probably because they feel this responsibility that they're still quite few of them. So I guess they kind of naturally assume this teaching role, but I think it's really important. I don't know about you two, but I think it feels like quite an overwhelming world sometimes, the tech world, if you've not really been raised that way. And I think little things like that can really show you that anyone can do it. So, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
as well, it's so important because you've heard in the music industry of a male producer kind of abusing his power. The first thing that comes to my mind is Kesha, and Dr. Luke. And I think a space where women can go into a studio and create music with someone that they feel comfortable being around and not sort of have that fear, I think that's also really important.
I agree. And if so many producers are men, then basically all the music that we're being exposed to is in some way influenced by a man, even if it's like a girl band or a female artist. So it's quite nice to see this music coming through that is women made from start to finish. And it's nice that that's not such a rarity anymore. But yeah, I think that was a really good topic. Well, thank you for bringing that up. Nisha, what are you thinking you'll talk about today?
So I'm kind of on the women thing as well, just because it was International Women's Day on Sunday, and I was sort of kind of reflecting on my favorite kind of women in music, and one that just always stands out to me is the album Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette. I think it is such just a fantastic album. Um, it just kind of encapsulates everything about being a woman. You have songs that are happy, you have songs that are angry, you have songs that are frustrated. And I just think she's such a special artist. My mom is a really big fan of her, and that might have trickled down into me being a really big fan of her. But I just think it's really a perfect album, and I think she's a voice for a lot of women, I think, and that's really important.
Will, are you familiar with this album?
I haven't listened to it, but I think a lot of people within music try and look for this shared experience. And from how you've explained it, it's made it like just confident that people can almost go to this album and have this shared experience with her.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think there's a lot more art out there at the moment about being a woman as well, and it's a really nice trend that's going on. I think because obviously it's always been seen as got these stereotypes attached to it, but I think women are allowed to be women in whatever way they want now. If they want to be girly, if they want to be more masculine, I feel like we're starting to become more accepting, and it's become more of an open talking point. So it's really nice to see albums like this surfacing. I don't know if there's any other albums maybe you think that do a similar job. I'd say maybe for me, for some reason I'm thinking straight to the Lily Allen one, like exposing her husband and all that. But that was a very brave take on womanhood that I felt like we hadn't seen before. I don't know if either of you two have a similar experience.
I guess I just have to say this one. I think there's a song on it. I can't think of the name at the moment. And like for a 1995 album, it talks about speaking to a man that's sort of in this kind of position of power, and he's just like kind of disregarding her and looking right through her. But then by the end of the song, she's like a millionaire and she's in a position of power and she looks right through him. And I think that's just like the most empowering thing possible. That's a real like kind of comeback, and I think she does it so well. I can't recall what song it is at the moment, but it's a good one. I would recommend it.
Yeah, I think like I'm gonna stray off topic here, but like when I mentioned like the shared experience and people just exploring themselves through music, the one that comes to me is Renaissance by Beyoncé, because for me that was very much of like accepting for me to be a homosexual, to be gay. And I think that's personally what I looked out for, and it's amazing to see that people are able to go against the norm to be able to empower those that maybe are too scared to speak up,
Yeah,
and just to have that greater feeling. And also, by artists making this music, it creates a community, and people can find people who are like themselves, who are maybe struggling with similar issues. And it's such a powerful thing for an artist to do, to be able to empower like just a wider group of people and bring them together.
absolutely. I think that's such an important function of music. Nisha, I haven't actually ever listened to that album, but I know what I'm going to do as soon as I finish with this. You keep bringing me these new artists that I haven't heard
You
of.
will have the best time ever. Like, it is
Can't wait.
just 10 out of 10 for me anyway, and I hope you feel the same.
I'll be listening the whole way through. I will. And speaking of this kind of shared experience, what I want to talk about today is the new War Child album. It's called Help 2. It's like the sequel to the one they did in the 90s. But the reason that I thought this was such a special thing is not only is it obviously raising money for a really important and relevant cause at the moment. I think that statistically there's something like 1 in 5 children are caught up in war at the moment, which is absolutely crazy to think about. But also just the music itself. I think sometimes when you have these big collaborative albums, particularly when there's such big names on them, you sometimes there's like this stereotype of them being a bit cheesy that comes along with it. But listening through to this, I just thought the music on it was so good. And I mean, it's quite a long album. I think there's something like 23 tracks on it. So I haven't actually made my whole way through it yet, but the ones that have really stuck out to me so far, I'm obviously going to say The Last Dinner Party because I'm such a fan. But there's also one that's like a collaboration between K Tempest and then someone from Fontaines and the lead singer of Blair. And I was just thinking, like, in what lifetime would that song have come together if it wasn't for this collaborative album? And they also had spontaneously, I think, this choir in the background that's made up of band members like randomly from like English teacher and just whoever was about in the studio. And I just thought that's such a beautiful way for music to be made. Like, it is such a collaborative and shared experience. And it's not that often really in our culture that such separate artists come together to make something. So I thought there was just something really beautiful about that. I don't know if don't know if either of you two have listened to the album or if you've got any thoughts on that.
I checked it out briefly and saw all the massive names. It's like I think Olivia Rodrigo's there. You've got Arctic Monkeys. Like this, like everyone from far and wide in the music industry has almost came together, and it does make you think, how have they pulled it off to bring everyone together, but also to make the tracks when maybe their genres don't align? Because that was one of the points you mentioned was like just people from different genres, and they come together in this almost once in a lifetime album for a obviously an amazing cause to help out children in war. And it is like that kind of power of music. It is
Yeah,
that power of music with like it's able to do amazing things for people who are listening, but also has massive benefits to support those children in war.
yeah, I agree. It's like that double-edged sword, isn't it? Like, it's doing so much good for the world, obviously, just in terms of like money and raising awareness for a cause. But at the same time, we've just got this great music coming out of it that I don't think could really have happened in any other context. I don't know, Nisha, are there any names on it that you're excited to hear songs from?
So I saw that this was happening. I didn't know it was out already, but I'm really excited to see that one with Damon Albarn and Green Chatting on it. I love both of them as artists. I'm a big Fontaines fan. I'm a big Blair fan. Um, but yeah, I didn't even know it was out yet. So I know what I'm gonna do today. I can't even think of any names that I saw that were going to be on it, but
We've done an album swap basically today.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the message behind it is so incredible. I think we saw it with kind of Live Aid and stuff like that, like just artists coming together for the greater good. And I think that's like really the power of music. It brings people together because we all kind of have, or like at least ones that you kind of want to support have a good message and have good morals. and they want to stand behind that, and they want their music to stand behind that as well. And I think that's just, it's so important, and it makes you proud to be a fan of their music when they believe in these things and kind of speak up for them.
I think that's a really important point to raise, because it's one of the things I was thinking about as well, is about kind of the politicization of music and how much crossover there is between politics and art. Because I think for a lot of people, you know, if you don't have an element of politics, in some way it's not real art, because it kind of lacks that depth. But then you also get the other side where some people are like, you know, there's no place for politics in music, like I just want to have a bit of fun. Bringing up the same band again here, but girl group, they're kind of on their way, I'd say, to making it much bigger. They've supported Olivia Dean recently, but they're kind of getting their first barrage of hate comments on TikTok. Like they've reached that level now where they've maybe, you know, branched out a bit audience wise, and they're starting to get people that aren't quite as on board with their music. And a lot of their comments are about, you know, why are politics so involved in your music, because it's really, they don't hide it at all, it's really overt like feminist stuff. And I think it's interesting that people are so split on this topic. Like some people love their artist to be behind a cause, and some people just think it's not really their job. I don't know, Will, like which side would you kind of be on for that?
Well, I think everything that we do in the world is predominantly political. There's always a message that's trying to be conveyed, and my mind went to like recently with Nicki Minaj and her relation to Trump. And for a lot of her fans, it feels like a massive slap in the face that like an audience that is very female or LGBTQ dominated is almost siding with Donald Trump. And she's so outward with her support for him, it does just feel like a massive slap in the face. So like when artists do these actions and think there won't be any political effect, there is, because inherently what you are doing and the actions that you take will have an effect on your fan base to some extent. And my also thought goes to like Eurovision that came after the war, and the whole point is to bring Europe together, keep politics out. But in the last couple of years, it's been so heavily political with the inclusion of Israel that they just refuse to remove them. And every year, it's the same discussions that are being held. And now, with this upcoming year, a lot of countries have pulled out because Israel are still included, which has led to the competition going down to 30 odd countries. We've seen it slowly decline over the past couple of years. So politics does have a place, whether you like it or not. And even as a brand, if you say it's not political, it will be political.
That is the exact stance I'd take, and I think that's quite a powerful message to end this week's episode on as well. I think we've had some really great chats. It's all been about feminism, you know, collaborative music. It's all come together really well. If you want to hear anything else from us, we've got a website as well where me and Nisha have written a few articles, and there's a lot of other new writers as well. So go give some of them a check out and tune back in next week. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.